Thank you, Morris. I turned 55 last week. Some of you might know that makes me a senior citizen for some purposes. The memory is the second thing to go, and the eyesight is the third. So here's my set list. Tell you how old it is. When Abraham Lincoln was 55, he had been dead for 4 years. All right. They say that the cure for stage fright, the remedy for stage fright, is to imagine the audience naked. That makes no sense at all to me. How is standing up here with an erection going to help my stage fright? Okay, but I am really pleased to be here in Oswego. This is by far the biggest audience I've ever had, so give it up. Oswego, I believe, is a... Thank you. Oswego, I believe, is a Shawnee word meaning caterpillar. I don't want to be bum everybody out, but you know, caterpillars eventually become butterflies and go and fly to Mexico. So I'm probably not the first person to say that, but anyway. Any vegans? Any vegans in the audience? Vegans, vegetarians? None at all? I heard a clap. Okay, for the person who was clapping, I got a question. Are you allowed to have oral sex? Of course, that's not my business, really, right? Because what goes in vegans stays in vegans. All right, my name is not really Walter Windchill. That's a stage name. In case I inadvertently say something correct and true about my ex-wife. But I will give her her due. She is not a sociopath. She is a socio-boulevard. She got sole custody of the kids in a divorce. She got custody of their souls, but I got custody of their id. Okay, speaking of my kids, the older, I have two daughters and they're teenagers, and the older one got a tat, and now the younger one wants a tattoo. My daughters, they do so much texting that they think Austin is the capital of thanks. Okay, then there's just a brief thing about my, well, I'm from Maryland. Let me go to that. I'm from Maryland. I've lived here for about 15 years. But anyway, Maryland is sandwiched in between Virginia, which is for lovers, Pennsylvania, which is for friends, which means Maryland is for friends with benefits, and Washington, D.C. is for date rape. Okay, I grew up right on the shores of Chesapeake Bay, and one time my father was giving my little brother and me a lecture in boat safety, and he was telling my brother, you know, here's where you can go on the boat. You can only go from this landmark to that landmark. And then he looks at me and he says, you can go to hell and back for all I care. I've always cherished that moment because it was the only time he ever said "and back." Okay, have you ever noticed how many of our expressions for pretty girls are violent? She's a knockout. She's stunning. She's striking. She's smashing. She's got a killer body. She's drop dead gorgeous. She's a sex bomb. Playboy magazine got way out in front of this a few years back. Miss June of 2004, this is true, Miss June of 2004 was named Hiroshima. She was 80,000 times sexier than anybody else. Okay, speaking of Playboy magazine, I know a guy who doesn't look at Playboy anymore because he doesn't like the silicone implants. He says it's fake. And the tattoos. And I told him, I said, well, that's the old trade-off, tit for tat. Okay, but some of those girls are so stuffed full of silicone that they really should call them Sandy. Okay, I love it when that happens. It's like like waves coming in. I know it doesn't happen here because media is pretty tight on policing this sort of thing, but in the city there's an awful lot of vile words being used for women. Instead of using the W word, women, they use the B word, and the C word, and the H word. Okay? And I'm not allowed to say them, so, but anyway, you know what they are. And the thing is, that is just demeaning to everybody. It's demeaning to the audience. It's demeaning to the women. It's demeaning to the comic who stoops to that kind of thing. And besides, they know. Okay, I keep a yardstick by my bed so I know how long I slept. Which brings me to my next subject. I get a lot of spam. Everybody gets a lot of spam about penis length, penis size. You know, increase the size of your penis. It makes you feel kind of self-conscious. Let me tell you guys, there's one way and one way only. It's guaranteed to work to increase your penis size if you're worried about it. Get a smaller girlfriend. Okay, I love words. I love to make plays on words. And two words that I think about sometimes are boner and anus. Because if you cram them together, you get bonus. Which has pretty much been my experience. Okay, speaking of plays on words, let me just run through a couple that I like. I have a life coach, which is really a drag. I'd rather have a life first class. I was checking into an airline recently, and they said, "Do you have any carry-on?" I said, "Yes, there's a bag full of roadkill." Okay, kayak is one of my favorite words. Kayak is you know what a palindrome is? It's spelled the same forwards and backwards. Kayak is the perfect palindrome because not only is the word spelled the same forwards and backwards, but so is the kayak. Okay, the reason I tell these lame jokes about words is because I'm moving up to my next little story. Somebody who makes puns, one of the dangers of making puns is that you might inadvertently make a pun, tasteless pun, and people will think it was deliberate because they're so used to making puns deliberately. This happened to me big time, a long time ago. I had this girlfriend and she had a friend. And her friend had an abortion. And something went wrong and she had to go back again. It was horrible. It was like, you know, I don't know the details because I blanked that out. But she's telling me about this. She's just sobbing. She said, "Oh my God, it was awful. The doctor, you know, I came out of the thing and the doctor said, I got to go back and do it again." And she's just sobbing. And I said, "That is inconceivable." She never spoke to me again. Okay, I'm getting light. So I'd rather have left on a big, huge laugh, but I'll settle for a chuckle. Bring up Mars. Well, if he's not here, then I can keep talking.